Welcome to Module 4, Discussion 2. In this module and this discussion, we are going to discuss understanding of agricultural certifications and different production systems, which is intended to serve kind of as a strategic guide. We'll walk through the major approaches to farming, like conventional, organic, regenerative, and biodynamic, and examine the certifications that support them, including USDA Organic, GAP, Regenerative Organic Certified, Certified Naturally Grown, Real Organic Project, and more. We'll look at how each system differs, what values they uphold, and critically, what it takes to implement them on a small-scale farm. We'll cover not only the philosophical and ecological foundations, but also the practical realities, record keeping, compliance, cost, and market access. You don't need to be certified to farm sustainably, but understanding these systems gives you the tools to make informed, intentional decisions. Whether you're marketing direct to consumers, working with restaurants, or preparing to grow into broader wholesale and institutional markets. So let's dig in. We'll explore what these certifications really mean, how they function on the ground, and how you can build a system that works for your farm, your values, and your future. In today's agricultural economy, certifications serve as critical mechanisms for validating on-farm practices, protecting consumer confidence, and expanding market access. For small-scale and beginning farmers, adopting a certification can provide a competitive edge by aligning farm operations with established environmental, social, and food safety standards. First, certifications function as credibility tools. Whether marketing at a farmer's market, through a CSA, or to a wholesale buyer, certified labeling offers consumers assurance that your farm adheres to specific, transparent standards. For example, the USDA Organic Seal signals compliance with federal regulations that prohibit synthetic inputs and promote ecological balance. Similarly, certifications like GAP emphasize food safety and traceability, critical in both domestic and export markets. Second, certifications serve as gateways to premium markets. Many institutional buyers, such as food co-ops, natural food retailers, and farm-to-table restaurants, require or strongly prefer products bearing certifications that verify sustainability or ethical labor practices. Certification can also provide access to government procurement programs or specialty distributors that pay higher prices for certified goods. Lastly, certifications promote adherence to environmental and ethical standards. Systems like Regenerative Organic Certified or Certified Naturally Grown encourage the farmer to prioritize soil health, biodiversity, animal welfare, and worker well-being. By following these frameworks, farms not only improve ecological outcomes, but also participate in reshaping the food system toward greater transparency and accountability. For new entry farmers, certifications may seem complex or burdensome at first. However, they are ultimately investment tools, offering structure, guidance, operational integrity, and increased visibility in a crowded food economy. They signal commitment, build trust, and position your farm as part of a movement towards more responsible agriculture. Modern agriculture is characterized by a diversity of production systems, each representing a distinct philosophical orientation, input strategy, and management approach. For the new or transitioning farmer, understanding these systems is foundational to developing a resilient and values-aligned farm operation. Conventional agriculture typically prioritizes yield maximization and operational efficiency. It relies heavily on fertilizer inputs, pesticides, and mechanization. While it dominates global food production, concerns regarding soil degradation, environmental contamination, and declining biodiversity have prompted the rise of alternative systems. Transitional agriculture refers to operations shifting away from conventional practices, often towards organic or regenerative models. During the transition period, typically 3 years, producers begin implementing sustainable practices but are not yet eligible for full certification. Transitional farming requires careful record keeping, input verification, and a strategic plan for soil and ecosystem restoration. Organic farming, regulated by the U.S. by the USDA National Organic Program, prohibit synthetic inputs and GMOs, while emphasizing soil health, biodiversity, and ecological balance. Organic systems depend on crop rotations, composting, cover crops, and biological pest management to maintain productivity and resilience. Biodynamic agriculture, developed by Rudolf Steiner, views the farm as a self-contained living organism and incorporates organic principles and adds spiritual and cosmological dimensions, including the use of homeopathic preparations and planting calendars based on lunar rhythms. Biodynamic farms are certified by organizations such as Demeter. Regenerative agriculture focuses explicitly on enhancing ecosystem function. It includes practices that improve soil organic matter, sequester carbon, and increase water retention. Though definitions vary, regenerative systems are outcome-based and often include minimal tillage, diverse cover cropping, and livestock integration. Integrative farming systems emphasize synergistic interactions between enterprises, crops, livestock, agroforestry. These systems are designed to maximize resource use efficiency, reduce waste, and improve farm resilience. Understanding these systems enables farmers to design operations that reflect their values, markets, and environmental contexts, ultimately supporting the long-term viability and sustainability. Conventional agriculture represents the dominant model of food production in industrialized nations. It's characterized by the routine use of chemical fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides, as well as genetically modified organisms, monoculture cropping systems, and mechanized tillage. The primary objectives of conventional systems are typically yield maximization, uniformity, and economic efficiency. While this approach has contributed significantly to global food supply, it is increasingly scrutinized for its environmental and social consequences, including soil degradation, water contamination, and reduced biodiversity, and dependency on external inputs. As awareness grows around the ecological limitations of conventional farming systems, many producers are exploring more sustainable alternatives. Transitional farming refers to the deliberate process of moving away from conventional practices towards organic or regenerative systems. In the context of USDA organic certification, the transitional period spans 3 years, during which the land must be managed without prohibited substances before it qualifies for certification. This phase is particularly challenging as farmers often forego synthetic inputs and face reduced yields without yet accessing the price premiums associated with organic markets. Successful implementation of transitional farming requires a strategic and systematic approach. Key practices include meticulous record keeping, which is necessary to document input use, field activities, and compliance with organic standards. Farmers are also encouraged to adopt soil building techniques, such as cover cropping, compost application, crop rotation, and reduced tillage. These practices not only improve soil structure and nutrient cycling, but also support long-term productivity and ecological resilience. Additionally, transitional farmers often reduce synthetic input use gradually while increasing reliance on biological and cultural controls for pest and fertility. Peer networks, extension services, and organic mentorship programs can provide essential support during this critical phase. Ultimately, transitional farming serves as both a practical and philosophical bridge toward more ecologically sound agricultural systems. Certified organic agriculture, governed by the United States Department of Agriculture National Organic Program, represents a regulated framework for environmentally sound and health-conscious food production. The system prohibits the use of genetically modified organisms, synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, sewage sludge, and irradiation. Instead, organic production is centered on ecological processes, biodiversity, and biological cycles adapted to local conditions, with the overarching goal of promoting sustainable and regenerative practices. A fundamental requirement of USDA organic certification is the 3-year transition period. During this time, land must be managed according to organic standards without the application of prohibited substances. This ensures that residues from previous conventional inputs are minimized and that ecological systems, particularly soil biology, are restored to a functional and healthy state. Although products grown during this phase may not be marketed as organic, the transitional period is essential for the integrity of the certification process. Implementation of organic production practices requires a detailed and well-documented approach. All inputs, whether for fertility, pest control, or disease management, must be approved and listed by the Organic Materials Review Institute, OMRI. Farmers must also establish and maintain buffer zones between organic and non-organic land to prevent drift or contamination from neighboring conventional operations. In addition to managing field practices, organic producers are required to maintain comprehensive records. These include input logs, field histories, harvest records, and sales documentation. This record keeping supports the annual third-party inspection process, which verifies compliance with USDA standards and ensures traceability throughout the production cycle. Beyond regulatory compliance, organic farming fosters long-term soil health through crop rotation, composting, cover cropping, and integrated pest management. For small-scale farmers, certification can open access to premium markets and provide a public demonstration of their environmental and health-conscious commitments. Certified Naturally Grown is a grassroots peer-reviewed certification system designed specifically for small-scale farmers who employ ecological and sustainable practices but may lack the resources or market need for formal USDA organic certification. Developed in 2002 as a farmer-led alternative to the National Organic Program, CNG adheres to the production standards that closely mirror USDA organic requirements, with additional emphasis on community integrity, transparency, and accessibility. CNG prohibits the use of synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, GMOs, and other non-organic inputs. Instead, it promotes a systems-based approach that emphasizes soil health, biodiversity, biological pest management, and closed-loop fertility. The distinction lies in the certification process itself. Rather than relying on a government-accredited third-party certifier, CNG utilizes a peer review model in which fellow farmers conduct inspections. This fosters mutual learning, accountability, and a culture of collaboration among growers. The implementation process involves an initial application followed by annual on-farm inspections conducted by other CNG producers, extension agents, or qualified volunteers. Inspections are scheduled with transparency in mind, and farmers are expected to post their records, including input use, field practices, and inspection reports, on the CNG online platform. This level of public documentation supports consumer trust and aligns with the program's mission of openness and integrity. While CNG does not grant access to certified organic wholesale markets, it offers substantial value for direct-to-consumer farmers operating within a community-supported agriculture, farmers markets, and local retail channels. It allows producers to credibly communicate their growing practices without incurring the higher financial or administrative burden of USDA organic certification. For small-scale diversified operations that prioritize environmental stewardship and community engagement, CNG provides a flexible, ethical, and affordable certification model rooted in mutual support and agroecological principles. The Real Organic Project has emerged as a response to growing concerns over the erosion of the organic standards under the USDA National Organic Program. Founded by a coalition of organic farmers and advocates, ROP seeks to restore and protect the original intent of organic agriculture, rooted in soil health, ecological balance, and transparency, by introducing a farmer-led add-on certification to USDA organic. At its core, ROP reaffirms two foundational principles: soil-based crop production and pasture-based, humane livestock management. In contrast to USDA's organic evolving allowances for hydroponic systems and confined animal feeding operations, ROP requires that crops be grown in biologically active soil and that livestock have meaningful outdoor access and graze on pasture. This recentering of the organic standard underscores a commitment to agroecology, nutrient cycling, and animal welfare. The ROP certification is only available to farms already certified under the USDA Organic Program. As such, it serves as a values-based supplement, elevating the integrity and transparency of operations that go beyond the baseline requirements. Implementation involves a separate application process, a farm visit by a qualified inspector, and adherence to ROP's more stringent criteria, including restrictions on imported fertility inputs, indoor animal confinement, and off-farm nutrient dependency. ROP also emphasized decentralized food systems, farm transparency, and climate resilience, making it especially appealing to small-scale direct market farms that prioritize ecological stewardship and consumer education. The certification's visibility is growing in farmers markets, CSAs, and food cooperatives, where discerning consumers are increasingly seeking assurance that their purchases support authentic, regenerative, organic agriculture. In sum, the Real Organic Project serves as both certification and a movement, advancing a vision of organic farming that is biologically grounded, ethically sound, and farmer-driven. Regenerative Organic Certified represents one of the most comprehensive and ambitious certification frameworks in modern agriculture, aiming to move beyond the standards of USDA Organic by embedding principles of ecological restoration, ethical treatment of animals, and social fairness into a single certification system. Developed by the Regenerative Organic Alliance, ROC is positioned as a response to both environmental degradation and ethical concerns in global food production, offering a holistic approach that connects soil health, human rights, and animal welfare. ROC certification builds upon the USDA Organic Foundation, meaning only farms already certified organic are eligible to apply. However, ROC imposes three additional pillars: soil health and land management, animal welfare, and fairness for farmers and workers. These pillars are grounded in measurable outcomes and practical implementation strategies. For example, ROC farms must employ regenerative practices such as no or minimal tillage, diverse cover cropping, integrated livestock, and compost use to enhance soil carbon, biodiversity, and resilience. The animal welfare standards require that livestock have access to pasture, are treated humanely throughout their lives, and are not raised in confined animal feeding operations, CAFOs. Simultaneously, the fair labor component mandates fair wages, good working conditions, and the right to collective bargaining, reflecting a global commitment to social justice within agriculture. ROC is structured with three levels of certification: bronze, silver, and gold, allowing farms to gradually implement and verify regenerative improvements over time. Their tiered approach enables small-scale farmers to engage with the certification process meaningfully while working toward higher levels of ecological and ethical excellence. In practice, ROC aligns deeply with sustainability and climate resilience goals, offering a clear and rigorous roadmap for farms committed not only to reducing harm, but actively regenerating ecosystems and communities through agriculture. Biodynamic agriculture, certified by the Demeter International, is one of the oldest and most philosophically rooted ecological farming systems in the world. Originating from the work of Austrian philosopher Rudolf Steiner in the 1920s, biodynamics approaches the farm as a living, self-contained organism, integrating spiritual, cosmic, and biological dimensions into a unified practice of land stewardship. Unlike other organic systems that focuses primarily on input restrictions or environmental impact, biodynamic farming emphasizes energetic relationships between soil, plants, animals, and the wider cosmos. One of its most distinctive features is the use of biodynamic preparations. These are homeopathic formulations made from herbs, minerals, and animal manures that are applied to compost, soil, and crops to stimulate biological and spiritual vitality. These include preparations like BD500, which is horn manure, or BD501, which is horn silica, which are buried in specific ways and applied according to lunar and planetary calendars, reflecting Steiner's belief in the importance of cosmic rhythms in influencing plant development. Implementation of the Demeter biodynamic standard requires a high level of farm self-sufficiency, including on-farm fertility generation through composting, cover cropping, and integrated crop livestock systems. Farms must manage nutrient flows internally, reduce reliance on off-farm inputs, and promote biodiversity through practices such as hedgerows, insectary plantings, and mixed livestock species. Emphasis is also placed on long-term soil fertility, water stewardship, and social equity within the farming operation. Biodynamic certification is stricter than USDA organic and includes additional ecological and philosophical criteria. This certification process includes both annual inspections and detailed documentation of field practices and preparations used. Biodynamic farming offers a deeply intentional model for sustainable agriculture, one that honors the interconnectedness of life forces and supports farm health, not just ecologically, but spiritually and socially as well. GAP is a widely recognized international certification system that sets standards for food safety, environmental sustainability, worker welfare, and traceability in agricultural production. Originally developed in Europe to assure consumers of safe, responsibly grown food, Global GAP has since become a global benchmark, especially important for farms seeking access to export markets or contracts with large retailers. The certification is particularly relevant to producers of fresh fruits and vegetables, livestock, and aquaculture products. It focuses less on organic principles and more on risk reduction and compliance in relation to food safety, environmental stewardship, and labor practices. At its core, GAP aims to create transparency and trust through the food value chain from farm to consumer. Implementation of GAP standards involves the development and enforcement of robust farm management systems. Key components include strict sanitation protocols for equipment and facilities, potable water testing and irrigation management, pesticide residue monitoring, and clear traceability from input to harvest. All procedures must be well documented and subject to third-party audits. The emphasis on record keeping and documentation ensures consistent safety and quality standards, particularly critical in preventing contamination and meeting important requirements. Equally central is the commitment to worker health and safety, including the provision of protective equipment, training, fair wages, and appropriate housing or facilities. Environmental elements of the certification encourage responsible chemical use, water conservation, and protection of nearby ecosystems, though without excluding synthetic inputs entirely. For small-scale sustainable farmers, Global GAP may be demanding in terms of administrative burden and cost, but it offers a pathway to premium markets, institutional buyers, and international trade. When integrated thoughtfully, it can coexist with organic or regenerative systems to enhance a farm's overall professionalism and credibility in global supply chains. Certified Regenerative by A Greener World, AGW, is a forward-thinking agricultural certification designed to promote comprehensive ecosystem restoration through scientifically grounded and transparent farming practices. Rooted in principles of soil health, biodiversity, animal welfare, and social responsibility, this certification extends beyond sustainability to support regeneration, the active renewal of ecological and social systems through agriculture. Unlike narrowly focused certifications, Certified Regenerative takes a whole farm, outcome-based approach. It emphasizes adaptive management rather than a checklist of prescribed practices, making it uniquely flexible and applicable to a wide range of agricultural operations, including crops, livestock, and mixed systems. Importantly, it offers an accessible model for small to mid-sized producers who prioritize integrity and impact over scale. Implementation of the certification begins with the creation of a comprehensive land regeneration and stewardship plan, developed in collaboration with AGW. This plan includes baseline assessments of soil carbon, water cycles, biodiversity, and farm infrastructure, followed by measurable goals for improving those indicators over time. Practices may include perennial cover cropping systems, minimal soil disturbance, rotational grazing, silvopasture, and integration of native species to restore habitat complexity and resilience. Animal welfare is a cornerstone of the program. Livestock must be raised on pasture, with ample access to forage, space, and natural behaviors. Confinement operations and synthetic inputs are strictly limited or prohibited. Transparency is another key element. Producers must maintain thorough records, participate in annual audits, and demonstrate continuous improvement across ecological and social benchmarks. Certified Regenerative by AGW stands out for its rigorous science-based methodology, transparency, and farmer-led adaptability for small-scale farmers committed to healing land while producing nutrient-dense food. It provides a robust framework and credible market identity that aligns with consumer demand for genuine environmental and ethical responsibility. In sustainable agriculture, animal welfare and fair labor practices are increasingly recognized as integral components of ethical and regenerative food systems. Certifications such as Animal Welfare Approved by A Greener World, Certified Humane, and Fairtrade USA provide third-party validation that a farm's practices meet high standards of ethical treatment for both people and animals through transparent, verifiable frameworks. Animal Welfare Approved is widely regarded as the most rigorous certification for animal welfare. It is based on species-specific standards that prioritize pasture-based systems, allowing animals to express natural behaviors, avoid confinement, and access high-quality forage. AAW prohibits growth hormones, subtherapeutic antibiotics, and animal byproducts in the feed. Its annual audits ensure compliance, and the certification supports small and mid-sized farmers who focus on humane and ecologically sound livestock production. Certified Humane offers similar animal welfare assurances but allows more flexibility in housing systems. Its standards emphasize enriched environments, stress reduction, and humane handling from birth through slaughter. While not strictly pasture-based, Certified Humane prohibits cages and crates for many species and sets strong welfare benchmarks for commercial operations. Fairtrade USA, while typically associated with imported commodities like coffee and chocolate, is increasingly relevant in domestic agriculture. It ensures ethical labor practices, including fair wages, safe working conditions, and the right to organize. In many cases, it also includes environmental sustainability components such as integrated pest management, water stewardship, and restricted chemical use. For diversified farms employing seasonal labor or participating in global value chains, fair trade certification strengthens social responsibility commitments. Together, these certifications help ensure that agricultural sustainability extends beyond ecological concerns, encompassing the well-being of animals and the dignity of farm workers. For farmers committed to holistic ethics, these certifications enhance transparency, consumer trust, and alignment with evolving market expectations. Beyond the more prominent organic and regenerative certifications, a number of specialized agricultural certifications contribute to a more nuanced understanding of sustainable food systems. These certifications often address specific concerns, such as genetic integrity, ecosystem protection, and waterway health, offering producers additional tools to differentiate their practices in the marketplace and align with consumer values. Non-GMO Project Verified is North America's most recognized label for products made without genetically modified organisms, GMOs. This certification does not address broader environmental or labor practices, but ensures that products meet rigorous standards for GMO avoidance, including testing of high-risk ingredients and segregation protocols. While not equivalent to organic certification, it is often used by farmers and processors to affirm transparency in seed sourcing and input selection. Food Alliance Certified offers a broad sustainability framework addressing soil and water conservation, pesticide reduction, humane animal treatment, and fair working conditions. Though less prevalent than others, It serves as a valuable multi-attribute certification for farms that wish to communicate a holistic commitment to sustainable agriculture. These certifications allow producers to refine and articulate their ethical positioning, providing layered assurances to buyers and furthering the reach of environmentally and socially responsible farming.